Hi, I'm Rue, and today I'm going to be taking you on a tour of my studio. So, this is my studio. This place has been in the works for many years. It's been through a lot of changes, but now I feel like it's at a place where I'm pretty comfortable and it probably won't change for a while. I use this place for mixing and mastering and even tracking vocals and instruments and stuff like that. So, it does it all. But anyways, as for the tour, let's get started where it all kind of ends, with the sound system. So, these are my Enjoyy Mercury MX1s. They've been pretty good to me for the past 4 years. Only got them recently because in college I had to write a little paper and I decided to do if near field monitors make a difference, and I don't know why I didn't have near field monitors before writing that paper. But anyways, they've been pretty good. Picked them up for a couple bucks. They got a 1-inch tweeter and a 5-inch driver. And I know that's nothing special, and that's why what they're paired with is something very special. So let's go check that out. So this is my Velodyne CT150. It's a 15-inch subwoofer with a 6-pound magnet. It's pretty serious, pretty heavy duty, and that's why I haven't felt the need to get new monitors. It also has 180 degrees of phasing and a built-in low-pass crossover, as well as a high-pass filter to set. This thing is pretty intense, and it needs a lot of power, so let's get on to what powers it all anyways. This is the Marantz SR6010. It's a really good receiver, and I've had no issues with it since I've got it, and honestly, I didn't even really get it. It's a gift from my dad, kind of in a weird way, because I had a Carver receiver that kind of just stopped working properly, and he didn't need all of what this thing offers, and honestly, neither do I. But anyways, continuing with the tour, if we are going backwards down the signal chain, the next thing is the mixer. So, this is my mixer. This is the Tascam Model 12. It's a super functional and versatile mixer with 12 ins, 12 outs, and you can record each of those channels individually or together in your DAW. It really depends on what you want to do. Also, you can choose at what point of the mixer you record these channels. You can do it after the preamp, the comp, the EQ, or even the channel fader. And along with the channel faders, you get 2 mixes, a submix and a main mix. And there's even an EQ for the main mix. And you can also record everything onto the built-in SD card slot. So this mixer kind of completes this whole studio. It is definitely easily the heart of the studio. But let's go through each of the individual channels and see what we got plugged in. And just like the sound system setup, we'll start from the top and work our way backwards. So let's begin with channel 9 and 10. This is my tiny mixer. It's my Mackie Mix 5. Honestly, all I really use it for is just to get these 2 keyboards into 9/10. Because I'm never really going to be playing more than 1 keyboard at once. The only person who can do that is Alex. So this is really good for live streaming as well, because there's an additional mic level input as well. So I can set up a mic for him right here and I don't have to run a long cable back to the mixer. Honestly, it's small, it doesn't really do too much, but it is perfect for what I need. This is the first thing that's plugged into the mixer. This is the Korg M1. This was also a gift from my uncle. He just had this laying around for a couple of years and figured he's not going to really be using it that much, so he gave it to me in hopes that I would make a better home for it. But, I mean, it's really hard to use. It's complicated. I'm getting through there, and I'm finding a lot of inspiration in the weird sounds you can make with it because it's a keyboard/synth kind of thing, so there are a lot of possibilities with it. It's been super cool and very useful, especially when live streaming, have 2 keyboards. But anyways, on to the next channel, my day 1, the Juno. Right above the Korg, we have the Juno. This is my day 1 because this was my first piece of actual music equipment I've ever purchased, and it's probably one of the best purchases I've made. This thing can do everything, and I mean literally everything. I don't even know where to start. You have rhythm, of course, you have percussion, you have the piano, keyboard, guitar, orchestra, world, brass, vocals, pads, synth, and bass, It has all that, and you can change all the patches as much as you want. There's a full amp envelope as well for each sound, so you can kind of modify anything to make it what you need. But anyways, so now if we continue on, we will be moving on to channels 7 and 8 on the mixer. So here plugged into channels 7 and 8 is the Prophet. This is my Prophet Rev 2. It's an 8 voice polyphony and 2 oscillator synth with 2 layers that you could stack on top of each other, making each have 4 voices. And I mean, there's a 16 voice version, which is like insane, and it makes the layering way more fun, but this is definitely more than enough for me. I wanted one synth that could be super versatile, as I'm sure you've noticed. I love having things that do more than one thing. But yeah, this synth can do a lot. It has 4 LFOs as well, so I mean, you're never really gonna get stuck or not be able to make new sounds. This thing is super fun, and it wasn't too expensive either because I got the desktop version, but luckily for me, this fits perfectly with my setup. I don't need a huge another keyboard. I have nowhere to put that. But yeah, this is what's plugged in on channels 7 and 8. Let's go check out 5 and 6 for the next one. Okay, so this is what's plugged in on channels 5 and 6. This is the Digitac by Electron. It has 8 voices of internal polyphony and 4 voices of polyphony when it comes to each individual MIDI track. This thing is super cool, super versatile. Once again, I use it to make tracks, I use it to chop up samples, and I even use it as a synthesizer sometimes. This thing really does do quite a bit. And it's super fun, and I don't think I'd be able to live stream without it. All the immediate sounds and being able to flip through different drum kits and stuff like that is just irreplaceable. This thing I paid full price for and would gladly do it again. Anyways, that's all for channel 5 and 6. Let's move on to a single channel for once, channel 4. This is my pedal board. Yeah, it's just a pedal board that we made, I guess. Me and my dad put this thing together. It's handmade, and the pedals that are on it have been hand chosen by me. Honestly, I can't really explain to you why I chose these pedals aside from I just want to sound like John Mayer on the end of Pyramids. And that's why I have this weird amalgamation of pedals. Anyways, the reason why I show you this pedal board before anything else is because of the DI box. That transfers the signal into XLR, and that goes straight into the mixer. So this is always plugged into the mixer. These pedals are always plugged in no matter what. That's the beginning of channel 4. But now, let's get into what I plug into these pedals. Okay, so this is what's plugged into the pedal board, my guitars. So we'll start on the left with the Stratocaster, or well, my left at least. This is a Made in Mexico Strat. It's a more recent model, somewhere in the 2000s kind of deal, but I picked it up because it is an HSS setup. So again, more versatility, more functionality out of it. I mean, I did swap out the humbucker for something a little bit better. I got the Seymour Duncan TB1659. Gorgeous sounding humbucker, and it has a lot of tone. You can also split it, like I said, so it sounds really good split and together, and also with the mid pickup. And the bridge and mid pickup are both noiseless again, so it's really good for studio use. I love it a lot, and it's my first real guitar. It was my first real guitar until I got this. This is my second real guitar. This is the Jackson. It's a 5-string bass. It's super, super sick. I absolutely love the tone that you can get out of this thing, especially with that top string and everything being so low. It's really cool, and it has a built-in 3-band EQ. It is phenomenal. I mean, I have no complaints. This is also a signature model, yeah. And I mean, that's it for channel 4, just really used for guitars. So let's move on to channel 3. This is channel 3, just mics. All I do with channel 3 is basically just vocal inputs, so I can take you through the mics that I use for channel 3. We'll start off with the one that I'm sure you know I own, the SM58. Really good, simple, basic, everyday mic. I also have the AT2035, a little bit fancier than the SM58. It's a condenser. Also a pretty good basic mic. I also have the AKG C214. This one I like to use for female vocals. It's really good for that higher range. I have the Electro Voice RE20. I've heard it's good for male vocals, but haven't really been able to get super good results with it. And last but not least, I have the Entech N2200. It's my absolute favorite mic for myself and male vocals. So yeah, that's kind of it for channel 3. Pretty quick, but let's keep it moving on the last 2 channels, 1 and 2. Okay, so here finally is the DJ controller. This is kind of where everything began for me. I was DJing before I was making music, so yeah, it means a lot to still have one of these things around. It's pretty important to me. And really, I mean, there's not much to say. I just use it for mixing. This is a DDJ SX2, kind of like an older piece of equipment now, but it's pretty good. Works with Serato really well. Pretty easy. And speaking of Serato, there's one other thing that uses channel 1 and 2, and that's my laptop. This is the last thing that's going into the mixer, and it goes in through channels 1 and 2 as well by default because I have it connected through USB. I never find myself using my laptop for audio and my DJ controller at the same time, so it works out perfectly for me. But yeah, my laptop is kind of how I'm able to upload and edit everything. It's also how I can mix and master because I don't have any outboard gear to do that kind of stuff. So I do really owe all of this to my laptop because before all of this, I started making beats on a laptop. Not this one, but a laptop. So I mean, this kind of brought me all the way over to where I am now. And that's it for the mixer. All right. And outside of all this physical equipment and like these big pieces of equipment that actually make sounds, I have things that transfer sounds. I have a couple wires hanging in the studio as well, some on the sides and underneath the table, and I also have cables just stacked on a bench over here with some drumsticks for some reason. So with that being said, I also have percussion all over the studio as well. Just a bunch of random little things, tambourines, hand drums, a frog. I'm sure we all know about the frog. Kind of cool. So I use that stuff to make music here and there and whatnot. But also, on top of making music, I do listen to a lot of music. So I have a couple collections. I have CDs, I have vinyls, and I also have cassettes. And do I have things to play all this stuff? Yeah. I do have a turntable, which I got a long time ago. It's pretty cool. It's a direct drive dual 1206, I think it is. And I did have a boombox that I was going to try to make work to play the cassettes, but I couldn't quite get it to work. Ended up taking my grandfather's old cassette player, and I mean, that thing doesn't work perfectly, but it works. Might get that fixed later on. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, that's pretty much it for the studio. There's not really much else in here. I think you guys have seen absolutely everything at this point. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for checking it out. I've been Rude.